Welcome back for another Talking Technical. And this week we were really flooded with requests. So I really hope that we can tackle most of them. We got so many requests on Twitter. I was surprised. And then on the emails, I almost thought, yo, it's a lot. So it just tells me that there's a lot of technical investors around there that is very uncertain about the market and they don't know what to expect. And there's some shares that really surprises them. Now, the first one was John. And I actually tweeted about it. John said to me, listen, Frans, I hear that every fundamental analyst around, you can just speak to, they say, buy Naspers, buy Prosus, because both of these shares offer fantastic value. And then I said to him, let's maybe just have a look at the chart, because the chart usually tells me what the informed capital is thinking. And I'm looking here at the weekly chart, and remember, Prosus was unbundled a few weeks ago, you can almost say early in September. And what happened here is, look at it, after this, and this is a weekly line chart, this momentum is clearly to the downside. So I cannot say that this is offering value because I haven't got the fundamental knowledge to even talk about it. I just know it's a massive company and everything is just doing wonderfully there. But this chart tells me something is on the boil and somebody is not happy. I can remember a lot of other charts like you can remember in the past, like a Steinhoff, everybody was happy, nothing was wrong, and the chart started to sell off and nobody could understand it. The same happened with a share like, if you can remember, a Braid, same thing. And another example is Aspen, and nothing against the management or the company or the profits that they make. The chart is telling me that Naspers is not a happy chart. Now, if you look at the daily chart, and that was my next point, I said to him, listen, can we maybe just see if we can get a reversal candle on the daily chart? Because that will make me happy to tell you that at least we see a candle that gives an indication that it wants to turn around. Look what happened after Prosus. This is that massive window that what was created when Prosus was unbundled. And remember, this is a fundamental window, and that window usually takes many years to close. We've seen in the case of Remgro when they unbundled British American Tobacco many years ago. It took them a long time. It did close. And the big thing is because British American Tobacco turned out to be a wonderful company. Now, if you look at this gap here, what happened? On the first day, there was a beautiful hammer telling us that something is on the boil and there's people that maybe wants to buy it. It gave us a 3-day rally, and then since then, the share lost momentum. Look at yesterday. There's even a breakaway gap here. And this reminds me about stocks where everybody said, but things are going okay, and the momentum remains to the downside. So what I can say to all the technical viewers here, and I know there's a lot of you that loves Naspers and loves Prosus and would like to buy them, and maybe you think of buying them for the future. I don't like this chart, and I will say, unless I can see a consolidation, unless I can see some turnaround candles, I will say look at Naspers as an interesting level. In actual fact, it was quite interesting a few days ago. We looked at the chart and we saw this beautiful rounding bottom. And then in the office, I said to Christelle, maybe just look at where the stop loss level is. And now a lot of viewers know by now that I don't like the word stop loss, because sometimes stop loss just gets taken out and the share goes the other way, or the index as well. But in the case of Naspers, I said, let's maybe just look at the stop loss level to make sure that we get it right on the chart. And the main thing that I said, that we've seen in the past that shares can go much lower. It can go below a stop loss, especially companies. I always say an index can never go bankrupt, because an index is made up out of maybe 40 shares or whatever the case may be. If it's a share like a Naspers, it can go under, because something can go wrong and it can go below your stop loss. So when you trade a share, always remember it's better to implement the stop loss if you are wrong. So, guys, at the moment, Naspers, not a nice chart for me, and for me, definitely not a technical buy. Well, Debbie said, Frans, can we maybe just look at EOH? Now, let's go. Debbie, unfortunately, didn't say that he's a trader or a long-term investor, so I couldn't make out if he's a long-term or a short-term. But I look at the EOH chart here on a daily basis. And the other day, we had a Beautiful rally, this strong bullish candle, but this upper tail, in actual fact, Christelle said she doesn't like this upper tail, so she was quite right. Since that upper tail to the top showed us there's some loss of momentum, look what happened. It really went down. But there's something else that I would like to say to Tebe. Tebe, keep in mind that EOH got their fundamental problems. They're busy working on it and they're busy sorting it out. But there's something interesting that I like about this chart. If you look at this chart, the low of this chart of a few weeks ago, and that was on the 18th of September, the low was, and I just want to give you the level there, the low was 10 Rand 97 cents. Since then, with all the bad news, it higher and higher, it rallies up, it comes back, and rallies up, and it comes back. So for me, it looks like EOH is building a sort of a base. So I will say, if you want to buy it, I will use this support line just to give me an indication where it can maybe go to. Let's have a look at the support line. There's the support line. So maybe, Debbie, it can go all the way down to about 13 Rand and then bounce from there. But my clue is with this little gap. There's a gap that opened up the other day. And you will see here on the chart, there's the little gap. So maybe it's heading down to close that gap. Although yesterday you can see this tiny lower shadow here. There is some buyers around here at the lower levels. But I wonder if the share is not going to close this gap. And this is an emotional gap. Now that gap is between 13 Rand 75 cents and 13 Rand 69 cents. So maybe that's the place where you can look at it, Tebe. It must maybe first close that gap before it can go higher. Well, Mohammed said, Frans, can we have a look at the SOR? Now, I know that Mohammed is maybe a long-term investor because he gave me that sort of indication. I just want to have a look here. A SOR. Now, Mohammed, I'm going to go and look at the weekly chart. And the weekly chart will give us now an indication what this share wants to do over the medium to the long term. We just looked at that chart of Naspers, but what can we see here of a SOR? This stock is telling us momentum is also clearly to the downside. Now, Mohammed, let's have a look at it. What worries me is this massive double top developed. And we at the moment already working in the, let's just say, in the negative sentiment of this double top. I just want to show you where did the double top kick in. All right, there you are. Where this double top keep, look at that good buy case. That makes me a little bit nervous. But there's something else. Maybe the share is a little bit, let's call it oversold at the moment for the short term. And let's have a look then how it looks like. I want to put the SOR in here on a daily chart, and I use a candlestick because I would like to see the emotion. And if I look at this chart, I can see there's maybe a tiny tweezer bottom developing. Let's maybe just show you here. There's the lows here. It rallied up, and it came back to come and test it. And that immediately tells me that I must look for a resistance line. Now let's have a look at the resistance line. There you are. And I will say to myself that there is maybe a piece of bottom here in place. There you are. There's the bottom. And let's look at the support there. There you are. There's the support. It's sort of a triangle formation. Because this candle is still so negative, I'm a little bit nervous just to rush into buy. So I'll wait for this resistance line to turn into a support before I get clever. So Mohammed, I think the best is to wait for this line, and that line will probably turn into a support at 260.25. So above 260.25, maybe look at buying it if you're keen on buying it, 260.25. The only problem I've got is look at this massive stop loss. The stop loss is sitting at 233.05. So just take note of that. This is a big stop loss. And then once again, we see here on a longer term chart, these stocks that are expensive, they can surprise you to the downside. Our last chart that we want to look at before we take a break is the gold price. And let's have a look here because I'll just check here the gold price at PM. There you are. Now, the guy that asked about that was Jacques. Jacques said, Frans, can you maybe just have a look at the gold price for us because I'm keen on buying it again. Now, if you look at the gold price here, guys, look at this beautiful rally that we saw. And we also discussed this on the show, I think 2-3 weeks ago. And I mentioned that look at this lamp pole formations. It rallies away, it pulls back a little bit, and then it rallies steeply up again. That's exactly what happens here. And now it looks like the gold price is starting to lose a little bit of momentum. And Jacques, I would like to show you there's like a small head and shoulder here, right at the top. This head and shoulder is a formation that always warns. Say, listen, the share maybe rallied a little bit too hard and too quickly. Let's have a look here. Let's go there. There's the head and shoulder formation. If you project it to the downside, Jacques, it can maybe go, let's just see where it can go to. There you are. It can probably go down all the way to about 1,460 before it can find support again after that head and shoulder. Also keep in mind that gold had one massive rally. And I think a few weeks ago, I also said something else. I said, just watch out. Gold has rallied away from its 40-week moving average. I just want to see where is that 40-week moving average at the moment. And then that will give us an indication. Now, there's the 40-week moving average that I'm putting in here. There you are. Sorry, guys, I just want to get that one quickly. Just want to put it in there. Because I'm always nervous that the share rallies away from its 40-week moving average, because that always tells me that we can maybe see a little bit of a pullback. And there you are. It's still way above its 40-week moving average. So Jacques, just be a little bit careful. Maybe this head and shoulder formation is warning us. I don't think it's time to buy gold now. Technically, wait for a pullback. This 40-week moving average sitting at 1380. That's quite away from here. I think your first support will be around that 1460. If that head and shoulder played out, that's maybe the time to look at it. But then, of course, at that point, we would like to see a reversal candle on a daily chart or on a weekly chart, a little bit of an improvement. Well, we'll talk to you within a second again.